So I need to hand make some jump rings. I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to share with you how jewelers hand make jump rings. Today I'm going to be using this, the Durston Jump Ring Former. However, we didn't always have one of these. We had a far more basic tool set up to make these before we got one of these, although I've had this quite a few years now. I'll cut to the chase. Fantastic tool for those of you looking for a review, but we will go over this in way more detail and I'll show you how I use this. Also we'll cover, this is the basic version. They do more advanced versions and I'll explain why I didn't get one of those, why I got this more basic model. So anyway, welcome back to Roberts & Co. here in London. Excuse the mess. At the time of me filming this, it's about 10 days till Christmas. We're flat out. Tidying up isn't on my list of things to do. Most days making a mess is a priority. So I need to make stock, and when it comes to jump rings, you can buy jump rings pre-made from a bullion dealer, and we do. They're fantastic, but it's more cost effective to make them yourself, but more time consuming, and time is money. But we will quite often use heavyweight 3mm and heavyweight 5mm or 6mm and 5 or 6mm bolt rings as clasps on bracelets and necklaces. We'll use the 3mm to attach the bolt ring to chains and a 5 or 6mm opposite the bolt ring as part of the closure and clasp setup. And it saves us so much time, but obviously that's how the bullion dealers make more profit, is prefabricating parts for you, but it is a real time saver. However, not only does making your own jump rings over the long term both pay for the tooling and save you money, because the bullion, if you're making it from scratch yourself, the wire yourself, is grain is less per kilo than finished wire or finished components. But the other reason the reason we're making the jump rings we're making today, I need 1.5mm diameter and a 3mm inside diameter, which I don't think you can buy from bullion dealers. I'm pretty confident you can't, not here in the UK. So that's what we're going to make, and this has the tooling to do that. So before we use this, the most basic setup is to do it by hand, is to get yourself, I've used pretty much anything round, ranging from old bits of burr to offcuts of steel. For ovals, I originally still actually do use flooring nails. Flooring nails are oval and you get them in quite nice small sizes. There's a trick to getting oval jump rings off oval mandrels though. They don't come off easy. I'll share that with you now. You wrap a piece of paper around the mandrel before you wrap the wire around it, and then when you burn the paper off afterwards, you just torch it afterwards, and that burning off of the paper either side just creates enough gap for it to slide off most of the time. If you don't do that, they're on. they're on there. Tooling. Once you really need a vise if you haven't got one of these tools. A bench vise, but bench vices aren't inexpensive. They're so widely available. They cost less than these. A bench vise, you can put steel or brass rods in, which again are relatively inexpensive, and you can hand wrap it round them. It's quite hard to get even and consistent jump rings doing it that way, but it is possible to practice. What we used originally was one of these, which is a hand drill, and these again are relatively inexpensive compared to these, but they don't come with the mandrel, so you have to, if there's a specific size you want, it probably doesn't. If you tried to buy all of these individual pieces of steel and a hand drill and a vise, you might be coming close-ish to having one of these. I mean, certainly with a base and what have you. So this was what we used originally, because these were available actually when we were using this, but I'm not sure if it was Pepe Tools, but they were coming, you could get them in America. Durston weren't doing them back when, I mean, we're talking 30 in the 1990s. So Durston were just making rolling mills back then. So we had one of these in a vise. And if you're going to use one of these they work. It's really no real different to the setup on this. It's just you've got a 3-jaw chuck, and you can make and mount your own mandrels in there. You need to mount these in a vise because you need 2 hands, one to turn that and one to hold and manipulate the wire as it's turning. You've got to hold that with one hand and you turn the other. So you have to, like I say, you have to mount these in a vise. If you're going to get one of these, I remember we had one with bulbous plastic handle, and it didn't work. We couldn't get it. The handle got in the way of mounting it in a vise. Whereas this one has removable handle, and you can clamp that in a vise, and it doesn't interfere with the operation, and then it would come out sideways. So yeah, you might be better off buying vintage ones on online auction websites. So yeah, if you're going to buy one of these, make sure that it is mountable ideally by the frame, and not, especially if it's got plastic handles, they just break. So that was how we started. Also, I managed to find at one point, now sadly, I don't think this woman's online at the moment, but I managed to find this quite a number of years ago, when we were still using the hand drill and a vise. And this is a set of steel mandrels. These are 250 or 300 mil long, from 1 mil in 0.1 of a mil increments up to 5 mil. This wasn't, I think this was about £100 or something. And we imported it from Russia. It was a lady selling on the monet. It was a lady making them, a lady engineer in Russia. As Russian ladies are built different to the ones here. But sadly, with recent events, I think a lot of the accounts on American owned platforms, they shut a lot of the Russian suppliers down. So I don't know how long that's going to go on for, but that, if you can find that, it's a great set. Otherwise, you're going to need to make something yourself similar. Obviously you can probably find some sizes, but maybe not all of them. That was just done for us in a pack. Right, so I think that covers the more basic versions of this. The reason I didn't buy the more advanced versions of this, not just the Durston one, the other brand, I think Pepe Tools do one of these, have made one of these for many years, and I'm pretty confident you can buy cheaper in every sense of the word, Chinese and Indian copies. The reason I didn't go for the more advanced ones, the main difference between these basic models and the more advanced ones is the more advanced sets, the more expensive sets, come with cutters. And the whole time that I've worked in the jewellery trade, these have been available. Like I say, originally they were coming out of America. People have always reported issues with the cutters, and I'll be honest, I've never used one of the cutting setups, but originally I remember people telling me that the problems were often compatibility with various drills. So it was something like, originally, because they were coming from America, and the American handpieces of pendant motors were a larger diameter than the UK ones, if you bought one of these with the cutters originally, and I'm going back decades, you also, to use the cutters, you had to buy an American pendant drill. So there was that. And that may still be the case if you've got a slim European pendant motor. You can probably use it. You can probably find that they're compatible with dremels and what have you. But beyond that, I've seen when I went to order this, I watched the reviews online, and the reviews that were available on YouTube, there were issues with the cutters, and it wasn't handpiece compatibility. It was just they were just having issues cutting the jump rings with the cutting tools. If you've had good results, let everyone know in the comments below. Like I say, I haven't tried them, but I didn't invest in the more advanced versions because I haven't heard good things. And the other reason was the cutting discs that are used in those, I don't I'm not aware of the different thicknesses that you can get. I'm pretty confident you can, but again, that might run into issues. What I will quite often do when I'm cutting the coils, so all of these, I'm pretty sure will make all the different makes and models. The Durston one makes phenomenal coils. I'm pretty sure they all will. But what I like to do, I will show you. I cut these with a piercing saw, and now I will quite often need to very finely adjust the size of the jump ring, particularly for this one, because the inside diameter, we're using these to make a pendant, and I need a tight fit of these rings on a piece of 3mm rod. So I will actually test, say a 1/0 or 2/0. The different thicknesses of saw blade will give us a slightly different size inside diameter. We can actually finely adjust, micro adjust the overall size of the jump ring, the inside diameter and outside diameter, using different size saw blades. So although it is frustratingly slow, especially if you were a beginner, because sawing is a skill, I still break blades all the time now. Blunting them is rare. I live stream every day at the moment, and you know, sometimes these last longer than others, but yeah, sawing is frustrating for many jewellers, especially beginners, but it does give you more control over the overall size of jump rings you're making. Right, let's make some jump rings. So, welcome to a pivotal moment in jewellery making where precision meets innovation with the Durston Jump Ring Former. This remarkable tool is a game changer for jewellers, offering unparalleled consistency and diversity in creating jump rings. The Durston Jump Ring Former boasts an impressive array of 20 interchangeable mandrels, ranging in size from a delicate 2.5mm to a robust 12mm. This variety caters to a wide range of design needs, allowing for exceptional customisation in your jewellery projects. As we select the appropriate mandrel for our design, notice the simplicity of its insertion into the coil holder. This marks the beginning of an efficient and streamlined process to produce your own jump rings. Watch closely as we insert the wire into the chuck or mandrel's hole on size 4mm and above, securing it firmly. This crucial step ensures that the wire remains taut and stable during coiling. As the handle is turned, the wire is masterfully guided onto the mandrel, creating a perfectly tight and even coil. Each coil, meticulously crafted, is then released from the mandrel with ease. The magic unfolds as we will later cut down the middle of the coil, transforming it into individual jump rings. These rings, precise in their size and shape, are ready to be incorporated into various jewellery designs. The mandrels, each 12cm in length, provide ample space for creating substantial coils. This, coupled with the tool's ability to handle a maximum wire thickness of approximately 1.85mm, showcases its versatility and adaptability. Housed in a sturdy powder-coated aluminium base, the Durston Jump Ring Former stands as a testament to durable and reliable craftsmanship. Its design not only ensures longevity, but also enhances the user experience. Ideally, it should be anchored to a work surface for stability and precision. As we delve into the creation of jump rings, imagine the endless possibilities they bring to your jewellery designs. From elegant necklaces to intricate bracelets, these jump rings are the building blocks of beauty and creativity. The Durston Jump Ring Former is more than just a tool, it's a bridge between traditional jewellery making and modern technology, offering efficiency, precision and the joy of creating something truly unique. So there we have it, simple as that. There we have our coil of jump rings, 1.5mm wire, sterling silver wire, 3mm rod, so the outside diameter of these will be, maths, 6mm. Inside diameter of 3mm. However, they do expand slightly once they relax, and also then when you cut them off, you're opening them up a bit. So depending on the thickness of the saw blade, you can then close them up a little bit. Now this coil is 80mm long. The actual mandrels are 120mm long, but by the time you've got enough in the drill chuck to grip this securely, we've managed to make a coil exactly 80mm long. The thickness of the wire and the diameter of mandrel you're using will mean the actual amount of jump rings you make will vary, but that's how long you can do with these. You can, like we have, buy yourself some longer mandrels. I have successfully, I actually normally use the 3mm version of this, and I managed to pretty much go the whole length of it. I'll usually make very long coils. So if there's a specific size you're going to use over and over again, you can get those. If you try and go the full length on the very thin ones, you better use some pretty hard steel or you'll just bend it. Although they don't bend, they have a tendency, because you're manipulating it and holding it to make sure that it coils on quite tightly. I haven't experienced, they're all still perfectly straight. So you would think they would bend. They probably will if you try using something slightly softer, like copper or some brass is actually quite hard. So brass will probably be fine. So now we need to saw these off. I'm gonna experiment. I've got a piece of the 3mm rod here that I want these to go on. I'll show you what we'll make with these when we've cut some off. So I'm gonna experiment with the saw blade that's in here, which from memory is a 1/0, and if that's slightly too thick, we will go for a thinner blade. If it's slightly too thin, we'll go for a larger one. I think it might be slightly too thick, actually. Right. Let's start sawing these off. In this segment we delve into a crucial, albeit intricate part of the jewellery making process, transforming the coil into individual jump rings using a jeweller's saw. This process, while demanding in patience and precision, brings with it the advantage of unmatched accuracy in ring sizing. As we hold the coil carefully crafted with the Durston Jump Ring Former, notice the deliberate choice of using our fingers and thumbs to grip it. This method, honed through experience, offers superior control and sensitivity compared to vices and clamps, allowing for a tactile connection with the material. Watch closely as the jeweller's saw, fitted with a blade chosen for its specific thickness, moves through the coil. This meticulous approach allows us to micro-adjust the size of each jump ring, a level of customization that pre-made cutting tools cannot match. The saw's blade's width directly influences the size of the rings, a subtle yet significant detail that can define the quality of the final piece. While this process may seem laboriously slow, it's a testament to the jeweler's dedication to perfection. Each stroke of the saw blade is deliberate, ensuring that the cut is clean and precise, minimising any potential waste and irregularities. This method, steeped in tradition, reflects the essence of handcrafted jewellery. It's a practice where time slows down and every action is a deliberate step towards creating something truly unique. The saw's rhythmic motion, guided by skilled hands, not only shapes the metal but also embodies the artisan's commitment to their craft. As we continue to cut each ring, consider the journey these small yet vital components will take as they become part of a larger exquisite creation. Each jump ring, a symbol of meticulous craftsmanship, plays a role in bringing the jeweller's vision to life. So there we go, it took some sawing, but there we have our little collection of 1.5mm round wire, 6mm outside diameter, 3mm inside diameter jump rings. So there we have it, our small batch of handmade jump rings to our own specification, 1.5mm diameter wire. We've made jump rings with a 3mm inside diameter and therefore approximately a 6mm outside diameter. Would I recommend the Durston Jump Ring Former? Yes, I definitely would. I use this now every time I want to make jump rings, either with the short mandrels that the set comes with, or the ones that the aftermarket mandrels that we've purchased. We've got a good selection of mandrels here. As I was saying earlier, we didn't start out with one of these. We started off using a hand drill in a bench vise, mainly because these weren't widely available back then. However, this has got a really good comprehensive set of mandrels, so you'd have to do the maths, but I think if you didn't already have a bench vise and a hand drill, and then need trying to source all of these different pieces of steel in this short length, it may be, I mean, it may not be quite as cost effective, but it might be certainly a lot easier. And obviously it comes in a nice storage, you've got this nice base with storage for the mandrels. It might not be too much more expensive to get yourself one of these than the basic hand drill bench vise setup, and then you've got to find somewhere to store all these rattling around in a drawer. So the basic kit's fine. Like I was saying earlier as well, I didn't go for the more advanced kits, and the only difference between the basics and the advances, the mandrels and the actual hand drill part of them are, if not identical, very similar, slightly different, slightly cosmetically they look slightly different, but the main difference between the basic set and the more advanced sets are the cutting tools, which I've never used, but I've never heard good things about them, so that's why I didn't go for that. But it'd be interesting to give them a go. Right, now we can use these to make the jewellery we need to make T-bar pendants. They're quite a popular thing at the moment. T-bars in general are having a resurgence. So let me solder up one of those and I'll show you one of the very many possibilities of the jewellery you can make. These aren't just used for attaching clasps and bolt rings and as the closure aspect of chains and necklaces and bracelets. We're using this to make component parts. So let's solder up a T-bar and I'll show you the finished article from these jump rings. So here's one of the pendants you've just watched us solder together, 2 centimetre wide T-bar pendant, and this is a great example of the kind of piece you can make using jump rings. They're not just used to make connectors and chain links, although they have been used to make the connectors and chain links on this piece, but more than that, they're an integral part of the pendant. So this is made using 3mm wire straightened out to make the bar, and then these 2 rings are the jump rings we made earlier using the Durston Jump Ring Former. So there's 2 that make up the pendant. There's a lighter weight, thinner jump ring made in exactly the same way, connecting the pendant rings to one of the jump rings, soldered closed and used as a bail. So there we have it. Right, I hope you found this video useful. A look at how we hand make jump rings, how we used to do it using a hand drill and mandrels, improvised mandrels, how we do it now using the Durston Jump Ring Former, and a look at the kind of jewellery we make once we've made jump rings using the Durston Jump Ring Former. So, I hope you found this video useful and see you in the next one. Toodles!